Listeners who didn't wish to hear about such things should turn off their radios.
Welcome back to Predictorama 2024, where I make predictions about the future of AI and innovation, because making predictions about the past would be just way too easy. Today, we're jumping headfirst into prediction number 2. Apple will lead the personalized AI revolution. Now, with all the AI hype over the last 18 months, tech companies have been throwing AI into everything, like confetti at a New Year's celebration, and there is a lot to celebrate. Amazon stock shot up 80% last year, Google's 58%, Nvidia's rose a jaw-dropping 238%. All of this because, AI is the cool kid in town. I could go on, but suffice to say that there is real value, both figuratively and literally, in articulating some kind of an AI strategy. Despite the obvious upsides, Apple has been surprisingly quiet. In fact, last year, Apple only mentioned AI 11 times on its earnings calls, which is anemic when compared to Amazon's 50, Microsoft's 70, and Google's 90 mentions. It was the topic du jour for everybody else. On the one hand, this kind of makes sense to me because if you look at a company like Google, let's say, there's a pretty obvious roadmap for how they could start to integrate AI into all kinds of things, from incorporating generative models into their docs or email to more revolutionary things like reimagining search with their release of Gemini. There's just a lot that they can talk about. But with Apple, it's a little bit less obvious. They don't have business services like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon do. But Apple has 3 major advantages that I think are going to revolutionize the way that we think about and use AI, and nobody seems to be talking about them. The first advantage is simply trust. Mention AI, and inevitably, conversations are going to gravitate towards all of AI's potential risks. In poll after poll, people are becoming increasingly afraid of AI, and there's certainly no shortage of hyperbolic headlines to fuel all of those concerns. Amidst that fear, though, Apple, and kind of only Apple, has prioritized privacy and safety first. And this is a big deal. Last year, Apple famously implemented a substantial change to its data policy, imposing severe limitations on data access by third-party companies. Users are now required to opt in if they actually want to share their data, and only about 20% of users actually do that. This to me is evidence of the fact that people want to control their own data, and they don't love being targeted. In this age of AI, trust is the currency, and Apple has done an amazing job of building it over the past decade. And that trust leads to their second advantage, personalized data. While Apple limits data access by third parties, they still have the potential to tap into a vast array of highly sensitive data, like biometrics, search history, app usage, basically anything you do on your phone they could hypothetically see.
You're a sociopath.
Despite this advantage, though, they store most of that data locally on your device. They don't even look at it. This is called putting your money where your mouth is, because this privacy-centric approach has paradoxically encouraged users to voluntarily share all of this sensitive data. There's a fair value exchange, and this is providing Apple with a constant stream of personalized information. This trust and voluntary sharing of data manifests itself in big ways with things like health data, but also in all these subtle ways. For example, last year, Apple released a Journals app which allows you to capture your most intimate thoughts on the day, complete with audio, video, whatever media you find meaningful. But think about that. Who else in your life gets this VIP access to your innermost musings? No one, except Apple. Trust promotes sharing. Sharing generates data, and that catalyzes personalization at scale. I mentioned this in my other prediction video, which I'll link above. But the open secret in AI is that companies are quickly running out of training data for their models, which has the potential to hamstring the entire industry. Yet here we have Apple, with a user base of over 2 billion and a private stash of data that could fuel the next generation of AI assistants. No other company can do that. And this combined with their own large language model, which they're probably going to release later this year, and you can see how they could very quickly leapfrog everybody else. Which leads to their third advantage, hardware. Now, I don't know if you've heard this one before, but Apple is pretty good at making products. From the phone to the watch to my staple of staples, the AirPods, they create things that people love. We're all becoming these proto-cyborgs, and it's not even weird because they've done it so well. Not only does this hardware breed an astonishing amount of data, but Apple is also vertically integrated. They make their own chips, they build their own devices, they create their own operating systems, they build their own platforms. I mean, even the video you're looking at right now was edited on their new M2 chip. And it's just absurd how much better it is than the previous Intel ones. Intel has been made obsolete overnight. So of course Apple's going to build their own AI chip, which will be the obvious foundation for the next generation of iPhones. That's right, an AiPhone. But seriously, I mean, this is going to happen. It's inevitable. And when it does, they're going to be able to use their hardware advantage to fuel on-device edge computing, which is going to drive countless use cases and new ways to think about AI altogether. So yeah, I think Apple is positioned to be a real leader for this next chapter of AI, leveraging their not first but definitely best approach that they've done for years. Unlike other AI systems that are oddly quickly becoming commodities, Apple's potential to integrate AI into devices with proprietary chips, potentially in a new AiPhone, and employ all these edge technologies as well, this sets them apart. And if you add to that the sea of personalized data that they've been able to capture, thanks to the trust that they've garnered with their 2 billion users, and you can actually see a world where Siri becomes the assistant we always imagined she could be, the human-centered interface that sits atop this sea of ever-growing complexity. Trust is the ultimate moat and will potentially result in Apple leading the personalized AI revolution this year. We'll see.
Oh, you're a sociopath.
If you like this video, be sure to hit subscribe for more content and predictions on all things AI, innovation, and design. It's gonna be a real hoot.
I'm happy.